Hong Kong could very well be another planet for the Gurkha recruits coming here for basic training. Most have never been on a plane, seen an ocean, or been in a big city before. Joining the 20th century and the rest of the world is as much a part of the Gurkha's transition as joining the army. The first weeks of training are a series of firsts, beginning with their first set of shoes and learning to do things together. Because of the language and basic cultural differences, Gurkha basic training takes almost a full year, nearly 3 times as long as their British counterparts.
Our soldier is still very much of an unsophisticated hill phenomenon. He's the sort of man who's had perhaps 5 or 6 years education in his school, has spent his entire life marching up and down, running up and down the hills of Nepal, the mountains of Nepal. And when he comes to us, is much more of a raw material than his British counterpart.
However, a Gurkha is generally much more physically fit for training than his British counterpart. More importantly, Gurkhas require far less disciplinary attention and motivation, and none of the bluff and bluster of most military basic training camps.
They don't require a great deal of noise and bluster to motivate them to do things. In fact, they react against that. If you shout at a Gurkha and show that you're unhappy with him, he will first of all giggle at you and think you're being funny. And if that infuriates you even further, he will just close up and not do what you want. A simple, polite word is all he requires.
When you put your lips together and go puh, 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 okay? Puh. Now say potential.
Potential.
Potential. And
potential.
Again, potential technical recruit.
Potential technical recruit.
Much of the additional training time is for learning English and the new culture they have adopted. As part of their cultural exchange, all British Gurkha officers learn Nepali, both as a sign of respect and to ensure against any communication gaps under fire.
So त्यो पहिलो गेम खाली छ 2 तारिखमा छ नि त्यही दिनमा तपाई के काम गर्दैन भने आउने.
If the Gurkhas have any natural fears, it is a fear of water. For most, swimming isn't in their vocabulary or background of life experiences.
Some of them are afraid of water because they think they might get drowned. That's the reason why they're afraid of water.
Having lost more soldiers to drowning than in combat in Borneo, all Gurkhas are now trained to be good swimmers, however long it takes. The ferocity of Gurkhas in combat is something that can't be taught. It's an instinctive trait that can only be refined in training and is rarely displayed and never bragged about.
There's a tremendous contrast between the reputation which Gurkhas have attained in war over the last 150, 60 years and their personal approach to life and the gentleness which they show each other, their British officers and all guests and strangers to the regiment. They are some of the most pleasant, easy to get to know and gentle people that I've ever met. And yet in wartime, when their temper arises and the situation needs it, they can forget all gentleness and be totally dedicated to destroying the enemy.
For their individual heroism, 12 Gurkhas received Britain's highest military honor, the Victoria Cross. British officers love to recount Gurkha stories, like the time a mortally wounded Gurkha was ordered not to die and didn't, lest he disobey an officer's order. Now, as an integral part of the British Army's Rapid Deployment Force, they are trained for a variety of combat situations in unfamiliar settings. In this state-of-the-art simulation of urban combat, they use live ammunition and explosives to test their abilities to react to the unexpected. Instructors control the action with explosions, sound effects, and change the scenarios with fake casualties and automated snipers. The Gurkhas' primary missions in recent history have been defensive. They have been largely responsible for sealing the border between Hong Kong and the People's Republic of China, which won't be one country until 1997. Day and night, they patrol the border for illegal immigrants trying to cross over to the Hong Kong side by cutting through the 19-mile fence that runs the length of the border. They have captured as many as 65 in a single day, using a variety of equipment ranging from sophisticated thermal imaging equipment to innocent-looking two-man teams on BMX bicycles, checking the fence for breaks and intruders along the 17-foot-tall fence. Armed with only sticks and their kukri knives, the Gurkhas set up nightly ambushes. They place extra detection sensors in the ground and check the more likely passage areas with night vision scopes. Their natural discipline and high morale allow them to maintain a high state of readiness night after night as they wait in the bush for somebody to test their 170-year-old tradition of following orders and securing difficult perimeters.